Right, okay, guys. So, as the title suggests, we're doing technically a VR to a channel I watch called Jamie. He's a relatively new channel, Australian lad, and he basically talks about physical media. He's got a huge collection, and he knows his stuff. But I did notice on one of his recent videos when he was talking about basically physical media dying, he basically poses the question, is it? I noticed there was a couple of bits he didn't talk about, and I thought, oh, there's some bits there that I could probably add to this discussion. So I thought, I'll tell you what, why not do a video response to it? Will he see it? Maybe, I don't know. But he did make some good points, which I'm going to touch on. Now, I have made a note of some of these points so that I don't forget any of them. So if you see me look down, that'll be why. So I suppose the first question you've got to ask yourself is it dying? Well, Jamie says it's becoming a niche market, a collector's market, if you like. And actually, I think he's got a very good point. He does make a very good point. I mean, just in the last few years, we've noticed Arrow Video. They're starting to bring out some great films, some great collections. Quite often, they're a superior copy of these films as well, you'll notice, compared to the, say, more mainstream Blu-rays or etc. that you're getting coming out. And then you've got 101 as well. That's another one. I mean, they're releasing a lot of films that never even come out on DVD, and they're releasing them on Blu-ray. So I do think he's got a very good point here. It is becoming more of a niche market, more of a collector's market, which is all the better for people like me and people like Jamie, obviously, because we will buy these. Yeah, so I do think he makes a very good point there. Now, the other point he also makes is about how on streaming platforms, quite often, you just get the cut of the film that they want you to have. And he's right. I mean, a good example, if you look at, for example, Star Wars, the only version you're going to see of Star Wars is the special edition. There's no way you're going to see that any other way on streaming platforms. That's the version you're getting. However, if you had have bought the DVDs which had the original theatrical cut on, you've got a physical copy of that film, you can watch the unaltered versions. So you're not getting this option on streaming. Same difference with, like, for example, different cuts of films. Say, for example, Blade Runner. Many different cuts of that film. I bet they're not all available on streaming. In fact, I know they're not. So, again, he makes a very good point. Jamie made some really good points here. Now, this is where my part comes in on this, like points that I noticed, which I want to bring in, because I think it's important that physical media doesn't die, and I'll give you some reasons why. So, for example, streaming platforms, they're altering these films. They are. I've talked about this before, guys. Anyone who watches this channel, you know my views on this. They do. They alter these films. If they don't stick to the current politics that are available at the time, they will alter these films. For example, I can tell you now they've altered Ace Ventura, because there's a part at the end of the film, and I'm not going to go over it because I don't want to upset people. But as you know, guys, there is a bit at the end of the film where all the people at the end realise that someone, in fact, I'm not going to go into it. You know what I'm talking about, right? They've cut that entire piece out of the film. Now, I get why they've done it, but the film now doesn't make any sense because you've chopped that out. And this is the other point of this, right? I see film, and I imagine a lot of collectors see it the same way I do. Movies, film, it's art. It was done by a director, a producer, a writer, artists. These films should not be touched. No matter how old they are a sign of their times. Yes, all right, it might not stick to your current politics, but however, back in the day when these come out, this sat very well with them. This is a period piece, showing you that things were different back then, and maybe even showing you how things have progressed over time. So as a result, they should be allowed to stay in the bubble that they were released in, like art is. For example, do you see anybody altering the Mona Lisa? No, you don't. And would anyone ever alter it? No, because no one would have it. They would kick off about that. You would never see that happen. Why is this? Because it's a piece of art. How is a film any different? You know, when it comes to music, for example, we call music artists. We call them music artists. because they create art. How is film any different? It isn't. It's quite simple. It isn't. So these films should not be touched. But the only way you're ever going to confirm that that never happens is by having the physical copies of these films. All the time we've got the unaltered versions physical, we still have that art. Unaltered, untouched. So this is the importance of it, guys. Now, one of the things we should look at here is one of the reasons why people think physical media is dying is because a lot of these big companies are trying to phase it out. And why is that? Well, it's cheaper for them to sell it to you digitally, isn't it? It virtually costs them nothing to do this. So it's a profit, if you like, every time they sell you a film. There's no physical thing attached to it, so they don't have to pay any extra expenses. This is why they do this. So there is a reason why people think physical media is dying. The other reason, of course, is that, you know, we have less room these days. So people don't want these massive collections of physical media taking up space. They'd rather just have it where you push a button on the TV and there it is. You know, so I get why people might think this is happening. In fact, with the last couple of versions, iterations of consoles, we've had digital versions where they don't have a disc tray. And in fact, if you look at PCs these days, they do not come with a CD-ROM or DVD or Blu-ray. They literally just come as a tower unit. And if you want that drive, you've got to put it in externally. So again, you know, we are seeing it starting to lean that way, but it is important that we make sure this doesn't happen. Now, another example also of this is that they can take these away at any time, and they can, and they do, because I've had it happen. I've said this before. Last year, I went to watch Halloween, obviously at Halloween. I'd bought it previous, and it had gone. I'd had no warning, no refund. And basically, when you look into it and you complain, they'll turn around and tell you, well, you're not actually owning the film. You're owning the opportunity to be able to watch it. So basically, it's like long-term renting. So as a result, you don't get your money back. And it is actually in the small print. They've got you. They literally got you by the balls. You can't do a thing. So as a result, I lost that film. And that goes into my next part, and that is price. Now, for example, that film, when I bought it, for ease, you know, because it is ease, isn't it? You're sitting home, you're not going out, you're not having to go and buy these physical discs. The ease, you're just pushing a button and you're buying it there and then. So as a result, they can charge what they like, and they do. They charge on Prime $7.99 for most films. I remember back in the day, you used to get the older ones cheaper, not so much anymore, unless there's a deal on. So in most cases, you're going to pay $7.99 for a film. Well, I can tell you now, I can pick that disc up in a charity shop on Blu-ray for £1. No brainer, right? No brainer. So the other thing, of course, that comes from the discs also is that the discs are better quality. I can tell you now, when you're streaming 4K, it's not really 4K. And in fact, if you look at a 4K disc, there's a massive difference in sound and picture quality. Colours especially. Just recently, I've bought Star Trek The Next Generation on Blu-ray. And I've also been buying, that's my dog snoring in the background if you can hear it. And I've recently been buying Blu-rays of The Big Bang Theory because they removed that off Netflix. And also I got rid of Netflix. I only kept it really for watching them. And I've noticed watching the Blu-rays of that, the picture and the sound is far more superior than what you got on the streaming platforms. And it's the same difference with The Next Generation. The HD version of that on Netflix is nowhere near as good as these Blu-rays. I can tell you that now. Sound and picture quality is way more superior. So there's that as well. Now, other points. Licensing changes. Yes, licenses change all the time, which means, for example, Big Bang Theory is on Netflix, and then all of a sudden it gets pulled off, and it's on Amazon Prime. You know, so unless you've got all these different streaming platforms that you're paying for, you don't have access to these films. So again, you're going to be paying out. Just buy the discs. I just bought the Big Bang Theory Series 1 to 8 Blu-ray. I just got that from CEX for £4. £4. How much are you paying for your streaming platforms? Prime's $8.99 a month. What's Netflix these days? 12 quid probably? Do I need to go on? You know, just get the discs. It's cheaper. And you can watch them whenever you want. So the other thing is also on this is that, yes, there is one thing that goes against what I'm saying here, and I've said this recently, I've proved this recently. Disc rot. Disc rot is a problem. However, I would say it's pretty few and far between. And the reason I say that is because recently I've proved that the Deep Space Nine slim sets were clearly made on cheaper discs. The way I've proved this is that an older set I had from the previous version is still going, and it's the oldest lot I've got out of the DS9 sets. So as a result, when I noticed that Series 3 had an issue, I bought the same set as Series 6, the previous set, and I bought that, Series 3, and it's perfect. There's not a mark, no problems with any of the discs. They all play perfectly fine. So, when I did do that video and I explained that I was having an issue with these discs rotting, yes, you do find that there is disc rot happening on some of these discs, but it is pretty few and far between. It depends on who made the discs or where they were made, like manufactured. Cheap quality discs. Most DVDs you'll find, and including Blu-rays these days, are pretty good, and the problems are few and far between. So mark my words, if you do buy physical, in most cases you're not going to find rot. However, if you're buying Star Trek, maybe swerve the DVD, get the Blu-rays if it's possible. I mean, obviously DS9, Voyager, they're not released on Blu-ray, they're not HD. So if you do get the DVDs, get the larger plastic cases. I think they're called flight cases. They're the sets that are perfectly fine. They're a better quality disc and they're not suffering with rot. Anyway, I'm sure I bored you guys long enough with my views on this. But I just wanted to do this video because, like I said, Jamie is doing some great stuff over on his channel. I will link him down below. He's got a very good head on his shoulders. I don't know how old Jamie is, but I'm guessing he looks like a young lad. But he's got a very good head on his shoulders. In fact, when he talks, he almost sounds wiser and older than he is. Does that make sense? I don't want to belittle the guy, you know, 'cause that's not what I'm doing here. He's a young lad, but he seems like he's got an older head on his shoulders. So he made some really good points, and I really wanted to do like a video response to it and just give my points as well. So hopefully he sees this. I do always comment underneath his videos, so maybe when I comment next, I'll let him know I've done this. So yeah, but yeah, if like I say, I'll link him down below. If you've not checked out his channel, go and have a look, because he's got an amazing physical collection, and in fact you can see it behind him in his videos. And what I like is he does something similar to Pedro's Movie Cavern, who's another channel I watch, where when he's talking about things, he tends to pick them out off the shelves. I would do things like that myself, but unfortunately I live in a flat, so my collection, it's there and it's there and it's down here. So it's a little bit harder for me to do that in these videos because I can't necessarily grab them at the time. That's why I tend to keep that for shorts, because I'll be filming as I'm pulling it out the shelf, you know. Anyway, I'm blabbering on anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and until the next one, take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.